Tree after tree after tree falling down, creating huge problems across the Piedmont. Lucky for this family in Sedgefield, those limbs missed their home.
And drivers along Business 85 in Guilford County between Greensboro and High Point not so fortunate. Earlier, a tree fell across the highway, making it pretty hard for people traveling in this area to get around.
Good evening, and thanks so much for watching the Piedmont News Station.
Well, what a long and busy day it's been for crews around the Piedmont trying to get these highways clear and to get electricity restored. Right now, here's a look at Duke Energy's estimated power outages in the Piedmont. And the biggest trouble spot, as we've been saying for the last couple of hours, Guilford County, with 140,000+ homes and businesses without power, more than 58,000 in Alamance County, 39,000 in Randolph County, 28,000 Davidson, 19,000 for Forsyth, 6,000 in Davie, and 5,000 in Wilkes County. It's been a while since we've seen numbers that high.
And no doubt the effects of this storm are going to linger for a while, but the worst of the winter weather is behind us, and we are also expecting a pretty big warm up for tomorrow.
Chief Meteorologist Van Denton is watching the forecast. And Van, two things. Do we have anything more to worry about tonight, and what can we expect for tomorrow?
Well, the only thing we really have to worry about tonight is some refreezing. After midnight, we could see some black ice threats, but that would be of nothing like we had to deal with this morning when it was for everybody. That's going to be more isolated stuff, and of course the north really hasn't thawed out a lot from theirs, but the moisture is moving away. You can see the radar is starting to improve dramatically across our area. Temperatures recovered today too, back into the upper 30s in the Triad, 40s back in the west. Winds, still a little bit of a breeze out there, but nothing like we had overnight last night and this morning that was really helping to bring trees down in addition to the weight of the ice. But again, overnight tonight, we'll see some patchy black ice, especially on elevated areas, bridges that thawed out a bit today. And if you live on the north side of the Triad cities and then toward the counties near Virginia, a lot of you got a good covering of snow and sleet on the roads to begin with, and I bet a lot of that did not melt today, so your problem is still there. But for everybody else where it was wet, there will be a concern of some wet refreezing. And then by mid-morning tomorrow, we're on up into the mid-30s, on our way into the 40s, so things will start improving tomorrow morning. But that advisory is out through tonight until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for that threat of black ice. I'll have more for you coming up.
Well, as we've been showing you throughout the day, this storm has really caused a lot of problems. The Piedmont's largest news team has crews out checking those areas hardest hit. This hour, our coverage begins in Guilford County, where a state of emergency is in effect.
And that's where we find Fox 8's Jasmine Spencer. Jasmine, how are things looking there now? I know you've been out there all day.
That's right, Katie. Things are starting to look up. The sun is coming down as it's setting, but cleanup is starting as well. I want to point out Mr. Cleavon here with Guilford Glassamere. He's cleaning up here from this awning that fell first through in the morning, and then behind us we've got a little bit of the green team for downtown cleaning up this area as well, so this doesn't become a hazardous area for people here on the street. It's not just trees that are falling, but businesses are also taking a hit. That's why authorities are asking that you stay home tonight while they continue to clean up. Now, more than 140,000 people with Duke Power households are without power as we speak. Power outages also mean several street lights out on major intersections like Holden and High Point Road. Now, treat those intersections as a four-way stop to avoid a crash. Since 6 a.m. this morning, there have been about 134 accidents on the roads because of downed trees and power lines. Now, down lines and trees and awnings are the reason why Guilford County is in a state of emergency right now. People we talked to today say they're having a hard time finding places that are even open for food and gas.
Oh, it's a mess. Trees down, I mean, everywhere. So I'm just looking for some gas. Everything is closed, so.
How long have you been driving around looking for that?
About 20 minutes.
And as crews continue to clean up here and people continue to clear up downtown, you may be wondering where there's a place that you can go if you have a friend, a family member, or a neighbor who is without power among the thousands in the county. We talked about that Glenwood Rec Center that's being open. It's Oh, my hat's falling off. One of the main things that's staying open, well, that's now turning into a shelter. So that's going to be overnight, a place where people can go to and stay. The American Red Cross will be there, but they're asking that people bring their own toiletries. So there's a place of refuge for those here tonight in Greensboro. We're live in Greensboro. I'm Jasmine Spencer, Fox 8 News.
A little breezy out there. Thank you, Jasmine. It may have slowed things down, but drivers didn't let the ice and slush keep them off the roads in Winston-Salem. This is actually how things looked right around lunchtime on Business 4. 40 near downtown. The good news here, there weren't a lot of cars on the road, but the cars that were on the road appeared to be taking it easy. That's what we like to see. Ice also brought trains in the Piedmont to a halt. This is video on the track near Jamestown. An Amtrak was forced to stop as crews cleaned up trees and power lines that fell across the track.
Well, in Davidson County, fallen power lines and trees caused some big trouble on National Highway here in Thomasville. At one point, the road was closed while power crews worked to clean up the mess. The issues in Davidson County pretty widespread. Fox 8's Lindsay Eaton joins us from there right now. And Lindsay, a big mess. I know those without power probably going to be waiting a while. At least many of them are.
You're exactly right. A couple hours ago, we were hearing more of the noise of the branches cracking, and now it's kind of switched over. We're hearing that dripping noise, and also just in the past 30 seconds, this is what we're seeing and hearing. Cleanup crews getting ready to try to make some progress. The sun has been peeking out to try to help with this mess. Now, this tree here is on Fairway Avenue. This is just one of the many trees. This one is blocking the road. Another one here, this one on the house, the homeowner has a big mess to clean up. Any street you drive around here, kind of the same story. A lot of down trees, a lot of down power lines, and power is scattered throughout these streets. Some people have it, others not so lucky. The neighbors we spoke with said from the sounds of it last night, they knew this ice storm was going to be a bad one.
Very messy trees. All we heard last night was the cropping of the trees all on Cox Avenue and on the backyard and across the street. And it's trees everywhere down. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere now. We have seen some people starting the cleanup process. Other people said they're just going to wait until tomorrow. Now, if you do not have power, we just learned that a shelter opened up at 6 o'clock just about 5 minutes ago. That's over in Lexington at Davis Townsend Elementary School. So if you don't have power, head on over there. We're live tonight in Thomasville. Lindsay Eaton, Fox 8 News.
Thank you, Lindsay. And in High Point, a trip down Kivett Drive was certainly not an easy one. This is video one of our crews shot while driving down that street. In addition to trying to get through the ice, look at that tree. Drivers also had to drive on both sides of the road just to avoid hitting all of the fallen trees. For those of you who didn't spend the day stuck inside, we know many of you were on a mission to find food.
While others were out looking for ways to stay warm until the power comes back on. Fox 8's Carter Coyle joins us live from Alamance County tonight. How are things looking over there in terms of roads, Carter?
Well, the roads actually are fine in terms of ice and snow, but it's when you come across something like this, a big tree that's fallen into the road, that's when you have a problem. Crews obviously have already gotten this. You can see where they've sawed it out, at least to kind of push back these limbs. And there's also a power line or a cable line over here that was draped across the road. So crews are addressing this. In the meantime, Alamance County has opened emergency shelters throughout the day. One that's still open is at the Graham Recreation Center. They're offering warm food and a warm place to stay, at least. People were also out and about in Graham today. They lined up at fast food restaurants, tried to get a warm meal. Right now, 60 out of the 70,000 Duke Energy customers here in Alamance County are still without power. We did run into the mayor of Graham today. Jerry Peterman tells us emergency crews are working nonstop.
As we started last night about 12, running wrecks and trees down, and been running ever since. And you saw the fire trucks go by just a minute ago.
This weather is horrid, and I am so ready for spring. I want my flip-flops back.
Hey, I could not agree more. We talked to a man here who owns a tree cutting company. He said they've scoped out damage pretty much exactly like this in Mebane, Burlington, Graham, Snow Camp, all over Alamance County. It looks like this, and there are power outages in all of those cities. He said it was really too dangerous for them to work today, but you better believe they'll have a very busy weekend. Live in Alamance County, Carter Coyle, Fox 8 News.
Carter, thank you. Now, this is really important. Jasmine Spencer mentioned it, but we'll repeat it here just for good sake. If you or someone you know is without power in Guilford County right now and you're looking for a place to stay warm, City of Greensboro has opened up the Glenwood Recreation Center. The center will be used as a shelter, or what the city likes to call a warming station. Glenwood Rec Center is on Coliseum Boulevard, kind of southeast of the Coliseum, between Lee Street, Freeman Mill Road. Volunteers and workers with the American Red Cross are there and ready to help.
All right, some would argue that some of the most incredible damage from this storm can be found on the campus of Elon University.
Take a look at this video we got from the university this afternoon. A tree fell in the academic village and damaged the Belk Pavilion. That is just a gorgeous building. Look how it damaged the front facade there. The 100-year-old tree split due to a combination of icing and strong winds. The Belk Building, the home of Elon Center for Advancement of Teaching and Learning, along with general studies. Ouch.
And of course, this ice storm and snowstorm caused problems for many people, but it's starting to move away. We're not completely done with it yet. We'll talk about what other impacts it could produce. Also, we've got some news you're going to love. Could we hit 70? Details are next.
We'll take those 70, Van. Trees are down, power lines down, and it's going to be several days of cleaning up. I'm Chad Tucker live in Guilford County, the very latest as the Fox 8 6 o'clock news continues.